The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Let's tidy up this tangle of film by putting it on a reel. Here is a motion picture film, 1,000 feet, 16,000 separate photographs.
Welcome, everybody, to the official space section of the Charter.
What's the truth? You can't handle the truth.
Sir, you're out of order.
Out of order. I show you out of order.
Hey everybody, I'm Michael.
I'm Remy LeBeau. Share.
I made the costume. And I'm Calverine. And we're your real debaters this week, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Where the Art of Cinema Meets the Power of Debate. It's been a minute since we've been in this room. We've been out and about in the world, hey?
Yeah, that's right.
We did Fringe.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
We stupid ton of fun.
We made some controversy that people ate up, which
we
was
did.
great.
We sparked.
Yeah.
We asked a question. We said, hey, movies are better than theater.
Yeah.
And stood there and watched that fire burn.
Yeah. And prove us wrong.
And it was a lot of fun. A lot of people
was great.
came. Like, we had like 6 or 7 interactions with people, and like we look weird, so it was really nice for people to feel that we were approachable. Right? Like,
That's true. That's true.
welcome back to the show. It's the SDCC review and react episode with me and Charles this week. If you've been living under a rock, a lot of things happened at SDCC. A lot of things we texted each other on.
Yeah.
And we were like, "Is this real?" And then I was like, "Yeah, it's from Variety." And you were like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah. What does this mean?
What is happening? Why does this feel so real? A lot of shit happened.
Yeah. I'll say, regardless if you are happy about it or pissed or whatever, very awesome though that I'd say this is the first San Diego Comic-Con since COVID that really was like,
boom.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
They dropped some mics.
Well, that's what they like. You could expect that every year.
Yeah. That's why people literally. I've been on the list for tickets for years just because you want to go experience it because you know something's going to happen. Someone's going to show up, or they're going to do something like and
then you get to say you were in Hall H when it happened, which is hollow ground.
Yeah.
So that we're gonna do that on the show for you today, listener. That's what you can expect. And we're also gonna give you a Deadpool review too, right?
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Deadpool and Calverine.
Big. That's right.
And Remy LeBeau.
Oh my god.
And so many people.
Big old movie.
It was a gas. It's going to be spoiler filled, so we're telling you that right now. So if you're still somebody who hasn't seen it, then you can skip this part and get to the goodies, the SDCC reaction stuff. But before we get to it, we just want to let you know, August 16th. What are we doing, Charles?
Oh, we're doing some trivia.
We are. What kind of? I'm going to ask you again. What kind of trivia?
We're doing Simpsons trivia.
Yay!
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And we just want to say, I was sick. I was out of town. It is my fault. We had to change the dates. But there's a new night, August 16th, from Little Brown Jug. If this is your first time hearing about it, there is a catch to this. Our other trivia nights, they're lots of fun. They're interactive. Charles knows this. We've been argued with before. We do change our mind. Sometimes there are mistakes. I think we just need to make a mistake question every single time and see if people catch it, right?
You know what? That's actually a great idea.
Like just slide it in.
Yeah. That would be fun.
And then you can wait for it, and you're like, oh, there's the one with the answer in it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Jimmy, Charles, and Michael all proofread and still missed it.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you've been to one of these before, you know that they're a lot of fun. Well, this time I'm going to be playing.
Yes.
It's a joke. Why is this? Yeah.
Michael was neglected The Simpsons growing up.
Neglected. It wasn't neglected. I was just denied.
He grew up in one of those crazy households where The Simpsons was just forbidden.
Yeah.
And it was a forbidden fruit he never tasted.
I have no idea what Go Banana really tastes like.
But we do have a suspicion that Michael's been training these last 6 months.
Maybe I've just been keeping you all under the guise of I do know more than I'm letting on, but the joke is I don't know enough to compete.
Yeah, you're like, I actually just wasn't allowed to watch the first 2 seasons, but after season 2 I watched it.
I've just been milking this. It's a thing me and my mom do when we're in public together.
Right.
And if you were at our first live debate, which is
fun.
Mostly just our friends, but if you were there, you witnessed me blaming my mother in front of a room full of people that this is how it all happened. So Jimmy and Charles thought it would be funny if we did trivia night where I have to play along and then I just sit there and get insulted. So
and
I'm
who
looking
knows?
very forward to this.
This might also be a new little shtick because we were also thinking how funny it would be to find a show where one of us doesn't know anything about it and has to play along, so it could be a fun.
I can't wait for my turn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't. And rightly so. If there's an idea out there that you would love to see, I think this is gonna, as Charles mentioned, gonna become our shtick, where it's like we out Mark for not seeing The Matrix and do Matrix trivia, right?
What?
Never seen it.
Mark?
Yeah, we did that.
But he would love it.
I know.
I feel like he would love it.
It is exactly what like
Who hasn't seen The Mate? What?
alternate realities, computer generated alternate realities. Never mind. Keanu, right?
Oh,
Martial
man.
arts. The list goes on, right?
We should like trick him into a screening or something.
How do you trick somebody into like
We have to
13 hours of television?
What is it? We have to
Cinema.
Oh fuck! I'm trying to think now. My mind blanked out. But that Stanley Kubrick movie where they keep their eyes open to watch
Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, we got a Clockwork Orange him basically.
Yeah, okay. That's called social conditioning.
Yeah, but
What
he'll
they
love
do in
it.
that. But I don't want him coming out of it being like, "Where's the white rabbit?
Give me the red pill.
Give me the red pill." Keanu, I'm coming. Give me an old rotary phone to get me out of this room.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so that's August 16th. Tickets are $5. You can buy your tickets at the link in the show notes. It's at Little Brown Jug. These are a lot of fun. If you've got nothing to do on Friday, August 16th, you should come to this. Then do whatever you're doing after. We'll be from like 7 to 9:30ish, right? It's a great way to start an evening. It's a great place to take a date for the first time.
Oh man, it's a great spot. It's a really great spot, and it's a lot of fun. And you got to, if you even remotely enjoy The Simpsons, you want to come out,
and you'll know more than I do.
Yeah,
you'll be way ahead of me. And like this is the kind of thing where I'll be sitting in my own, like we're trying to find a desk for me, like from grade 4, right, with like a tote.
Yeah,
then I can like bring out all my things, and then I'm going to be sitting like the dunce.
Yeah.
Mic'd up.
We'll see if we can get you to do your work on a projector, so you can show how you're trying
to write
figure...
like lines on the chalkboard, like Bart, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Should I answer
every
like that?
round? Oh my god, I will not fail Simpsons trivia.
I will start watching The Simpsons. I will start watching The Simpsons.
Oh fuck, that's
my
great.
mother doesn't control me at 42.
My mother doesn't control me. My mother doesn't control me.
We hope to see you there.
That's great.
Get your tickets now. They do sell out fast. And that's about it for what we're doing. Oh, August 23rd. We're at Movies in the Park.
That's right. That's right. We're doing Movies in the Park again, which is a lot of fun. I mean, it's always a really great turnout.
It is.
Even one of the times we went, the weather was like crap up until 2 hours before it started.
Clouds parted.
Yeah, and it was beautiful. And then, I'm not even kidding, half an hour before the movie was going to start, it was just like a sea of people came in.
It was insane.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
We were like, we're close. And then we're like, we're right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what we do, we're given the right to speak to you good people who show up to the movie. We host the evening. It's a lot of fun. We tell you where the garbage is.
Yes.
We tell you, how to keep your children in line from crawling all over the theater.
Yeah, don't climb the screen, where you can get some of your concessions.
Yes.
You know, all the important things that you expect from a live
your hosts.
show. That's right. And then we do a commentary during the movie.
We do. And then this time we're going to be like Paw Patrol or Free Guy. Right, because those are the two movies.
Those are the two movies we're doing.
Those are the two movies, right? We're going to be recording during one and hanging out for another one. I'm sure.
I mean, I feel like
night.
Paw Patrol. I don't have the time to learn everything about it.
I remember Ryan Reynolds recently saying. I remember Deadpool recently saying, compared to, I don't know what it was, but he said he would rather watch a never-ending festival.
Oh,
of
Paw Patrol than
right?
Green Lantern.
That's it. Or watch Green Lantern.
Because he was asked if the family
has seen it,
and he was like, no.
Him and Blake haven't seen it.
Yeah,
together.
he would rather. But what's so amazing is that movie will always hold a special place in their heart, no matter what. Because that's, I'm pretty sure, where they met.
Yes,
and fell in love.
Yes.
So they can't ever say that Green Lantern didn't do anything. And it gave a really funny scene in Deadpool 2 where he shoots Ryan Reynolds in the head while he's reading the fucking script.
It's pretty fantastic. Like if you are
You're
Deadpool
welcome.
and you have a time device, where do you go?
Yeah.
You correct your previous failings.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll hope to see you there, August 23rd. First movie's Paw Patrol. Second movie is Free Guy, which is like, if you haven't seen Free Guy,
we should do Free Guy.
I think we should do Free Guy.
Free Guy's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit more our speed.
If you love video games, if you're a nerd, fantasy, all of it's so fun.
Yeah.
And Taika Waititi is a great villain in it.
So there you go.
He's so it's great.
Decision made. We'll watch Paw Patrol, or introduce Paw Patrol and probably go for dinner, and come back and we'll record for Free Guy.
That's a good idea.
And if you see us and you want to come over, we'll have a little debate about what your favorite Ryan Reynolds movie is and why, or Ryan Reynolds in this versus Ryan Reynolds in Green Lantern, or Ryan Reynolds in that Pizza Guy TV show that he started.
Oh, Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place.
That's the one, right?
Fucking great show.
That's the only two Ryans you get. Right? Or Van Wilder.
Oh, Van Wilder.
Van Wilder versus Chris from the Christmas movie that he did where he's
Just Friends?
Just Friends. Chris from Just Friends.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or what did I say first?
You said we're both really high.
We are. Which is probably a perfect time to transition to actually talking about the shit we're going to talk about today.
Ryan, you're too hot.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
You're just talking about
so
you.
Hot right now.
It's so hot, Hansel. All right, well, this is the point in the show where we say Deadpool and Wolverine is about to be talked about, and if this is a
Major
spoiler,
spoilers.
we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of it.
You know there's a ton of cameos. We're going to discuss all of them.
Every single one in clear detail. So much, in fact, that if you close your eyes, you might actually not need to watch it.
That's right.
This will be a reenactment, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know that one in Thor where Matt Damon and the other Hemsworth brother?
We're
going to do that today.
Hey, speaking of Thor, only Ryan knows why he's crying.
So
why is Thor crying?
It's a big deal. Did I make Thor cry? All right, let's start. First, how did you feel about the title sequence? We'll start there.
So I rewatched
because that sets everything.
It does, yeah.
Right?
It really does.
It puts you in where we are,
and it's Disney. Like that opening scene has to be Disney being like, "We're doing this right."
Yeah.
Because if that opening scene didn't do what it did, it's kind of like, uh-oh.
Well, and that's where I think that's what they probably pitched with.
Yeah.
Right? They were like, opening scene is right because they really need to like whatever you want to do. You've got the TVA to do it in.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a little bit when I realized they were going back to the end of Logan. There was that part of me that was like, oh no. And then what they ended up doing with it, where he's like, he can't be dead. He's just in eternal sleep. And then it's the adamantium fucking skeleton. And he uses it to beat the shit and murder TVA agents that are trying to bring him in.
Which is how you geniusly keep the budget down.
That's right.
Because all you're using is adamantium bones.
Yeah, that's right.
Which,
that's right.
Like,
and it's great.
It's absolutely great because the digging up the body,
and he gets the claws. That's right.
But
he modifies it.
He accidentally stabs himself in the thighs.
This is hard to use. That's
right?
It's like he can't wield the hammer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, can't wield them. It's definitely meant for Wolverine. Like,
what is my favorite part of it, and it is true genius to Ryan Reynolds and co. If you remember at the end of Deadpool 2. Celine gets bashed to shit. We need to bring Celine Dion.
Yeah.
Celine Dion down.
Yeah.
I am always at an 11, Ryan.
Yeah.
Right? And then him saying and making it come true.
I should have got
NSYNC.
Yeah.
And then opening with Bye Bye Bye.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking
And it was
brilliant.
good. It was really good.
That's the nuance of how much he's like, remember when I did this? Watch me do this.
Yeah. And I mean, it's been a while since Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Like, he even starts the movie with saying there was a minute there where we didn't know if I was even going to live or survive through this. Because when Disney bought Fox, it's not like they went to Ryan right away and were like, you're good.
Yeah.
It was years before they were like, hey,
well,
how are we going to do Deadpool?
There's years of, I think, him being like, okay, I know we can't do it now, but we know how much bromancing went down between the two of them in real life.
Yeah.
To get us to the point where it's like, Disney, you're the only one left who's not saying anything.
Well, and the fact that, you have Hugh, who basically we celebrated Logan like the retirement of him playing that character, and it was a great farewell.
Right when Deadpool is coming into existence.
Yeah, that's why he's
like, how did I retire right here?
Yeah. And you know what's funny is he makes a Wolverine joke at the beginning of every Deadpool movie. The first one, he's like, I know you're wondering whose dick did I have to suck to get this made. It rhymes with Pulverine.
That's right.
And then in the second one, he's like, just when things were getting good, he had to fucking die? Oh, so now I got to make my movie dramatic. Yeah.
I mean, I loved watching the adamantium be used in multiple violent, bloody ways.
Yeah.
I think the whole setup of him having to find now the right Wolverine and using the TVA
Yeah.
was brilliant, because I think Loki was the only success. I know that's a hard thing to say, but Loki was really successful.
It was.
It's also very tied to the TVA.
It is.
So it was another fun anchor point, because the TVA was like this like Keystone Corporation who couldn't get shit done right.
That's right, and it's a mess. Like you have your own the people who are in charge of timelines are turning on each other and trying to like run all the time. Like,
and it's a perfect place for the confusion to happen with him, because Deadpool fucks everything up.
Well, and naming a character from the TVA who is fucking with the TVA called Paradox is genius writing.
Yeah.
Every time they said Paradox, you laugh a little bit because you're like, yep. Like, it's great. It's really smart. Like, the movie just, again, in terms of progressing the MCU,
nothing.
Really.
We didn't budge.
No. But going there, like, I was let down by Multiverse of Madness. For something called Multiverse of Madness, I felt the cameos lacked a little bit. They were fun.
I agree.
They were the ones that were there were fun, but it lacked for something called Multiverse of Madness, right? I feel like this did it.
And see, that's where when me and you get into where I have issue, is that's the money aspect of like, how much do we put into this and how much do we save? And it's like, no, we're here.
Yeah.
You give us what we fucking want.
Yeah.
So, I can see your point in that for sure.
Yeah, like this, and again, once I started realizing this isn't doing anything for the MCU, but fuck is this making my nerd-gasm.
He breaks fourth wall and he's like, nerds are about to get hard.
Yeah, man, and he's
kind
right.
of moved a little.
And he's right. Like, the whole movie is the most fan service they've done since Endgame, to be honest.
Easily.
A lot of this movie was, that scene in Endgame where they're all there showing up through the portals?
They even used the spinny circle thing.
Yeah, this movie has
There was
so
some mad
many.
doctor roaming through a few years ago, and he left this behind. Oh my God, it's a fucking key.
Yeah, like it was, and even the idea that the Void is Disney's trash can, like the Century Fox logo's down there. The villains that they never used after X1 are all down there. Like, you know what I mean? And we have your Furiosa.
I did get some very hard Mad Max vibes as soon as they pulled onto that line.
It's so funny. Like, there's when they go to the Void, it's basically Mad Max, and even when you're watching it, you're like, this is kind of Mad Max.
Well, you see the dude standing on there, like,
that's right,
practically playing it. I'm like, get some flames kicking out of that thing.
So Deadpool's like, why are we in the Mad Max? Like, are we allowed to say that? He's like, is that okay to say Mad Max right now? And then when he kills fucking Sabretooth, he holds up Sabretooth's head and he's like, we've killed your Furiosa. It's amazing. Like, it's...
Well, and that's like, that, I'm like, do we get Berserker Barrage right now?
Yeah.
But like, coming out of that, like, when he even says, what does he say? He's like, hey, big guy, go to work.
Yeah.
And then you think it's going to be this big duel, and it's like one run, one clang of the claws, and then the head just falls off.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, that's where we're going.
And what's funny is, I don't know if they did this intentionally, but one of the funniest lines in X-Men Wolverine Origins, where Deadpool first showed up, where it was Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Sabretooth is, one of the lines is like, how are you going to kill me? And he's like, I'm going to cut your head off and see if that works. And then he did it. Yeah. Like, his line to Liev Schreiber was like, I'm going to cut your fucking head off and see if that works.
Did you also catch when we go search for our anti-hero? When Deadpool, for a listener who's still listening who hasn't skipped yet, when Deadpool gets asked to come to the TVA because he's special, which if anybody at that point was watching, I was like, dude from Succession, you're totally baiting Deadpool. Like, you're playing on his weakness. He wants to be great.
Yeah.
You've obviously been watching him. I saw the first TVA. I know how Owen Wilson was lied to.
Yeah.
The only time where I felt that stuff was forced was when they were trying to have him sit down with all of the people who matter to him, right?
Yeah.
With Coked Out Bunny, that is his roommate.
Yeah.
With
Sugar Bear.
Sugar Bear.
Yeah.
Colossus.
Oh, yeah. Negasonic.
Negasonic.
What the fuck?
Yeah, right? Like, them just being there for a family supper, I'm like, this isn't enough. This should have been out. Right, like we could have had the redemption story of him wanting to get back to his stripper girlfriend name we don't know.
Yes,
and that would have been enough.
Yeah,
and then everyone else we know would have been saved. But to have this little moment, I'm like, it's full of comedy, and it was good. But I felt like it just kind of was jammed in.
I also to me, it wasn't believable. You have 2 movies of this guy literally going through a mutant experiment so that he can survive cancer to be with her.
Why they're not together? He sacrificed a lot.
Yeah, and they're not only are they not together, they're like divorced essentially.
They're
like,
awkward
it
at
didn't
a party.
It didn't work out,
Yeah.
but they're still in each other's
She gives
lives.
him shit for not getting into the X-Men, right? Because
Yeah.
when we open with Happy,
Oh, right.
which
so,
we're totally missing, when Happy's like, we
Oh
at the
my
X-Men,
God,
and
that's
he's
right.
like, you're an X-Men?
Yeah, trainee.
X-Men adjacent. X-Men adjacent.
Yeah, that's right. I guess right because the second one he pretty much was a trainee.
Yeah.
They led on. Oh, sorry. I just have to say this because this is another thing that disappointed me. No mention of Cable. Not even a joke. Nothing.
There's one joke.
Is
It's
there?
very brief.
It's very subtle.
It's in a melee of like 30 others.
Okay, so that's
and
probably
they,
why.
They do throw back to Cable. It is about changing time.
Okay.
And how he went back, like when he did something with Cable, he was like, I should have done more. Like it's
Okay,
it's a throwaway joke. There isn't a lot.
Because that was the one thing, like, you know, I love that he called him Thanos in, like, Deadpool 2. And then I was just shocked that, like, you know, the TVA wouldn't have been known of Cable using a time machine.
Or maybe letting Cable use the time machine was
Or
part
maybe
of the
they're
TVA's
like,
plan.
It's all about Wolverine Deadpool, okay?
Yeah.
If we do another one, Cable will be there, and then we'll see what else happens.
We'll get Thanos back. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
But once we get into, okay, we are now in planes, trains, and automobiles full-on mode, right?
Yeah.
Road trip
Yeah.
through multiverses.
Oh, one of the coolest fight scenes. These guys fight the fuck out of each other in a car.
Right?
And it's filmed in the car, like you're in the car with them.
You get back rear shot,
Yeah.
front seat,
Yeah.
side,
It's
side,
incredible.
right side window in through. Like they just beat the
And
fuck
they're
out of
and
each
they're
other.
going full like
Yeah.
Wolverine's full clawing, going nuts.
That's their first beatdown with each other, I think.
It's the second one
Is it
because
the
the
second
first
one?
one is in front of 20th Century Fox.
That's right,
where
he
they
does-
first meet.
Where he does the
gut. Oh, they do like
to
the full
sides.
comic book.
When he stands up after that fight,
Yeah.
and you just see the bullets fall down.
Yeah, that was
I
so
was
sick.
like,
And then he
oh,
does
okay.
he does the old
claw.
school. Yeah, that was cool. That was like 90s cartoon Wolverine, like embracing the character fully.
I wanted Berserker Barrage.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how many countless times have I played Capcom versus Marvel and
Yeah.
used that move?
I mean, Logan did it pretty beautifully. That's one of the coolest scenes ever.
They did do it great when he's
Yeah.
when he's going at the end and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But I was like,
but seeing him in the yellow suit doing it is on another level.
give me my video game.
I guess the
character
last
Logan.
scene, the bus scene, is kind of that.
Oh, it is
Because it's literally the video game, right? It looks like a video. It
the
literally,
John Wick adjustment. I loved it.
and it's just like Wolverine's going, Berserker Rage. Like he's fucking it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
You see the giant group of Deadpool come running
Oh my
at
God.
them, and then you just see the body parts get chopped back.
Yeah, I love when the camera stops and they run out of frame,
Yeah.
and it's like, and then slowly they're just getting fucked up. Yeah, and he's behind Wolverine, basically pushing him, and Wolverine's just like, it's unbelievable. Like that's what I'm saying.
Well, it goes
is-
into wah, 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 na, na, na,
Yeah,
na, na,
yeah,
wah. Like it's very
yeah.
comedic.
It
and
is.
old vaudevillian at that
Yeah.
point, right?
And like that's why you're like, I kind of don't give a fuck that it didn't do anything for the MCU because that's where I want.
I don't either.
That's where I want Marvel to be. Is like, why can't we just have a great story? And if it does connect, great. If it doesn't, who cares?
Well, in hearing the Marvel Jesus stuff,
Yeah.
in camera, in
Quiet
story,
you! I'm Marvel Jesus.
right? But like, it is saving Marvel in a different way.
It
It's
is.
not moving the timeline
It's
because
bringing life back.
it's
Bringing balls and life.
it's
and
keeping
juice
Marvel
and-
alive on the way to the hospital.
Yeah, it's keeping them alive and it's making them realize, like, look, you guys have already done something nobody has done. Nobody has really had a franchise with so many interconnected movies that
allow
told-
us some
right.
leeway.
So now that you've done that and you own all these things, like, yes, you still want to cater to new fans, but you have fans that have been here for 20 plus years, basically.
Go back further when the comic
So-
books were read.
Why not now? Exactly. What made you? Why are we in love with you? Because of comic books. That's how it all started. So treat it like that. And I've been saying this for so long. I want to be a kid in a comic book store and not give a fuck necessarily about who's this guy? Oh, I need a whole origin story. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, there's this thing that like what I don't think translates. And I mean, I'm not a big comic. I don't know how the process of writing a comic. Do you make it a big series? Do you only make it like a 6-book? Like all the marketing and ideas that go into making a book, I have nothing. I don't know anything about it. What
sure.
I do know is that there are all these amazing, weird, sporadic stories.
Yeah.
That sometimes veer off and make no sense.
Yeah.
But all you're doing is saying, well, what if? Right?
Yeah.
What? Literally, what
well,
if?
and it's more like real life. Like, you know, when we met, let's say, like, yeah, obviously I'm like, what's your origin story? And you're like, what's yours? But we're not going to see that. We're going to have it through a conversation. So sometimes in comic books, that's what it is. Like when Punisher and Daredevil first meet, it's a conversation. That's the origin story.
I feel
Boom.
that there might be at this point some time to take pause and go, okay, let's make this comic book story as the comic book.
Yeah.
And then if
Yeah.
we ever need to,
Yeah.
we'll keep continuing and
Yeah.
do what Wolverine did.
Yeah.
And do origins. Call
Yeah.
them origins.
Yeah.
Right?
Or like make it known like a comic book. There's Amazing Spider-Man. There's Spectacular Spider-Man. The concept is the same, but they're different timelines. If you guys want to do that, fine. But like as long as it's made in a way that like, oh man, there's so much like this can bleed into what happened with Comic-Con essentially, because I think I kind of have an idea. Disney's doing a big pivot from Kang. We know that, which makes sense. And honestly, I think I'm more interested in Doctor Doom than I am Kang. Nothing against Jonathan Majors, nothing against what they were trying to do.
You can be against
well,
Majors,
actually,
that's
yeah,
fine.
actually,
Like-
fuck you against Jonathan Majors because
I mean-
he ruined it and he's an asshole.
He was an unbelievable Kang.
He's a piece of shit though in real life, unfortunately. But yeah, performance, like looking at the character wise, I was okay with what they were trying to set up. It was interesting. Quantum Mania didn't blow my mind, but I wasn't like outrageous. Get rid of it. You know what I mean? And Loki season 2 was whoa. Couldn't wait to see what they were going to do with it. But
Let's just put a pin in that for a sec. I do want to ask you about the montage and what your favorite representation of
Yes.
our
So-
favorite yellow beast.
this was my other reason that I couldn't give this movie a 5, which was I love the cameos, don't get me wrong, but one of the fucking best meat and potatoes and gravy of this movie is Deadpool going to all the different timelines with different Hugh Jackman Wolverines. Not all of them, but most of them are all Hugh Jackman Wolverine variants. And it's all the comic books we love, and I just wish they spent a little bit more time in some of them. Like, I understand they wanted to sprinkle a little bit, but again, you guys have the rights to all of this. Don't sprinkle. Go. Give me the donut. Don't just give me the sprinkles. Give me the whole donut. I'm into it. Like, you know what
Stick it
I
in my
mean?
mouth.
Like, even when he shows up in the... Yes, they do a beautiful recreation of Hulk versus Wolverine. It's beautiful. But wouldn't it have been cool to see them fight a little bit? Like, even Deadpool being like, oh, I got to see some of this. And seeing them fight,
or
right?
like-
Like a little bit.
He breaks fourth wall and he was like, "Does everybody want to hang out here for 30 seconds?"
Yeah, and
see
just
them
see
fuck
this,
each other.
and he
Okay,
moves
cool.
the camera,
and he just
right?
moves the camera over, and then he sits
Yeah.
there and gets popcorn and eats and
Right.
watches with us. And he's like, "All right, moving on."
Right.
That would have been great.
Yeah, and I'm saying I know they can't show the whole fight. I mean, they could because fuck it.
Yeah.
But I understand why they wouldn't because it's still Wolverine and Deadpool.
Well,
but
isn't
like,
there a rights issue with Hulk too?
or
Or
I
is
think
that
it's
all done now?
I think it's
Is
all
that
done
part-
now.
Okay,
yeah.
because they were, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all done. So, but yeah, that
What about-
shit. Oh, I would have loved. Oh,
about
comic
itty
book
bitty-
accurate
Itty bitty
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
They do comic book accurate Wolverine, and it's great. It's Hugh Jackman basically like downsized. They CGI downsize him to like what 4 feet basically.
Yeah,
4.5.
I don't know what scale is,
Yeah.
but I do know that he was tiny as fuck.
And he's great. He's still aggressive. Like he's
Yeah.
like, I don't. Who are you, bub?
He's like a honey badger. Not a Wolverine, he's a honey
yeah,
badger.
little honey badger. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
bite the head off a cobra.
And he even makes a joke. He's like, now you know, like it's basically saying like this is why we would never do it comic book accurate.
Yeah.
'Cause it's hilarious, right?
Calverine.
Yeah, that was oh my god.
Calverine.
So we all knew these rumors, but the way they did it too. Oh,
You heard those rumors? I didn't
Beautiful.
hear anything. That was
So-
that was a shock to me.
so the rumor that I had heard was that he met with Feige to talk about being the MCU Wolverine. That was the rumor I heard.
But that may have not played out. But what about
Right, but maybe the interview was we want you to play a Wolverine variant in the MCU. Do you know what I mean? Because it's an MCU movie. So there is a timeline
I
where
feel-
Henry Cavill is the Calverine.
when he was asked about that? I remember hearing about that. I feel the conversation when they're that vague is
Yeah.
the red herring. They're like, "Oh yeah, you definitely talked about a role."
Yeah,
But what
yeah.
role? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, it was this role.
But the way they did it, like
Oh,
he's
it's
got
beautiful.
the good chops, he's got the hair, like
The
and
back
he's
on
just-
him.
Oh yeah, and when he pulls out his claws, he does it like he's actually like you know what I mean. And I love that you were
mean-
just leaving, bub.
You mean when he pulls out his claws, it's like he's locking his arms again? From
Yeah,
Mission
right.
Impossible?
Yeah, he's doing that same move again. Yeah, and the cigar, he looks good
You
with
were
that
just
cigar.
leaving, bub. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Like I would
I would be okay with him to be the new MCU Wolverine. Why the fuck not?
Deadpool stops and he's like, let me just say on behalf of all humanity that this is okay.
This is okay. And like, we'll treat you way better than those assholes up the streets. Oh, fuck. That was great. And they would. Like, I guarantee you that's on the table. If he wants to come back and revisit
Can
Wolverine.
you imagine a Secret Wars Wolverine as Henry Cavill?
Well, that's what I think they did with this. That's what I'm hoping is that gravy, that more gravy I'm wanting.
When we start talking,
I'm hoping that's
monitor the chatter.
In Secret Wars. Like,
how many people are talking about Calvarine?
Because there's a Calvarine, there's Apocalypse Wolverine, which was dope. He's just fucking like a robot, just stabbing him in the face.
Broken man, just like over and over and over
And then
again.
the crucified Wolverine, like, whoa.
That's a famous comic book cover, right?
So good.
Yeah.
Oh, and they did it. Those skulls are supposed to be all the mutants. Like, mutants are being executed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so good.
No, that was Mark even leaned over and he's like, that's a comic book cover.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought I'd seen that.
And it's
somewhere.
a beautiful cover. Like, it's and Old Man Logan, just straight up, they did like the Logan did a good variant of it, but that quick clip was the actual comic book accurate Old Man Logan. He's like a cowboy, he's got the cowboy hat, the big gray chops. That was cool. And then he shotguns him. Doesn't even use his claws. He fucking shotguns Deadpool.
Okay, so we cut back to the right Wolverine.
Yeah.
Catch me if I'm wrong here. Catch me outside.
How about that?
When they cut to his first line and Deadpool says something and he says what the line that he says, the camera shot on that is almost a really quick zoom in and a hold for a beat. I swear to you, the line that he says is the same line we get out of him in the bar in Calgary when you first meet him in the first
X1.
In X1.
Almost 100% sure, yeah.
That line just hit me, and I was like, this is Deadpool showing this timeline is just one timeline over from the first timeline we've met Logan.
Yeah, because even the bar, like the bar
it's not
looks,
the timeline, but it's...
But the bar looks the same.
Yeah.
The bartender's saying kind of the same thing. Like
when he meets Rogue and the whole thing happens after the fight. Like, I'm talking...
I also loved when he said, "Sorry, lady, I'm not interested." When he's like, "You have to come with me." Look, lady, I'm not interested. Fuck.
Bub. How many times...
Well, and when what is he? He sees him, he knocks him out on the bar, and then his shirt's open a bit, and he's like, "You're wearing this underneath?" Cut to, and then he's in the yellow suit, so he's wearing it underneath street clothes. Which was a brilliant way for them to be like, that's why he's in the yellow suit. So it is
I really liked Deadpool having to not be able to fuck around his way out of a situation. Like, he actually had some humanity to him in this one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there was conflict and there was something on the line.
Yeah,
right?
and I mean, and like, you do get Wade in every movie. You get that moment where Wade is coming out, like in the second one, he wants to protect a kid.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
In the first one, he's just trying to kill Francis, but he's trying to save his girl. And then in the third, it's becoming an Avenger. Essentially, he wants to become an Avenger.
Even how about get my country's name out of your fucking mouth?
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was
The
beautiful.
only good thing that comes from Canada is Wolverine.
Yeah. Fuck, that was great. No, and that's like, like again, the movie did what we were hoping for. Something called Deadpool and Wolverine. It delivered. That's a 5 out of 5. When it's everything Deadpool Wolverine. They knocked it out of the park, 100%. It's awesome.
Okay, so let's talk about everybody else besides Deadpool and Wolverine, because this is cameo
heavy.
Like
Calvarine was just a little sprinkle to how big some cameos are.
Just a tiny little nugget of chocolatey goodness.
Yeah.
You get, ready for it? You get Blade, which makes perfect sense.
You get Wesley Snipes' Blade.
Yeah, not just a Blade.
Yeah, no, you get Wesley Snipes' Blade, which was wild, especially with how many issues they're having with the new Blade movie. It was wild that they brought back Wesley Snipes' Blade. That was easier.
Yeah, that was easier.
That was easier than making a new Blade movie, apparently. So
then you have Elektra.
Which, damn, man, Jennifer Garner, good for you. She looked great and kicked ass. Like, you see her in action, and she's actually pretty badass.
Did you catch the
Ben Affleck joke was amazing.
Ben Affleck joke was amazing.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, they're like, so in that timeline, Daredevil has died.
Yes,
and Ryan Reynolds is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and she's like, "Oh, it's okay,
it's fine. We don't talk about
She's like, "Oh, that's don't worry."
Who are you talking about?
Yeah.
Then you have what. A lot of us were like, maybe they should make the movie, maybe they shouldn't make the movie. Then Channing Tatum was attached to it, and you were like, I don't know.
Yeah, like
guy's from Louisiana. I don't know if I can watch Channing Tatum after 21 Jump Street seriously play Louisiana, but you get Gambit.
Well, and the way I remember it was like the movie got greenlit twice. It got shut down twice, greenlit twice, with Channing both times. It was like creative differences both times. And
Was it really, though, or was it that accent?
Well, now you're realizing that was them being
nice.
professional to Channing Tatum.
Yes.
Being like, we're not going to say it's because you're atrocious with the accent. And we're not going to have someone voice dub it because that's insane. So we're just going to shelve it. But we loved you. And good luck, bud.
He looked the part.
He looks incredible. And they showed, like, this is 90s comic book Gambit. Like your 90s animated X-Men Gambit. He's dressed, like he looks exactly like Gambit. The cards are animated the exact same way in the way he uses it. And his fucking, the staff.
Yeah.
He's got the glow staff. So it showed us that
It's that beautiful shade of purple.
it showed us that they could do 100% a 90s comic book accurate X-Men movie 100%. Like
But
they could do it.
It just
but not with
sometimes
Channing Tatum.
doesn't exactly.
It's just not Channing Tatum.
Well,
Like Taylor Kitsch was a better Gambit to me than
in the first Wolverine.
he
Wolverine
pulled
Origins,
off he pulled off the accent, and
did.
that's why he played Gambit.
Remy
he,
LeBeau.
He pulled it off really well. Channing, no. And
I do pray tell mon ami.
Ryan makes fun of it the whole fuck, and he's in it a bit. Like
What's
he
the
doesn't
bit?
just
He's like,
show up.
Holy shit! Who the fuck is your dialect
He's like,
coach?
1 second here, and I'm so sorry. Who the fuck is your dialect coach? What is going on here? Yeah. And then there's one part where
shit.
Channing Tatum talks for a bit, and it sounds a little bit like he's doing a Jamaican accent.
It is. It moves in between dialects.
And Ryan Reynolds is like, I think what he's trying to say is this is bad. Because it's just so.
My first reaction.
He tries. He really does. He really tries.
When you go to the buffet line and you go back for seconds and you go for the greatest hits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the greatest hits have registered with me, and we were talking about like this needs to be seen multiple times. Like for it to all hit and stay
and sit in and really be like, like appreciate everything that they've sprinkled and put in through it for sure.
What about Emma Corrin as Professor X's evil twin sister?
So I actually liked her.
Emma Corrin, right? Emma.
I think so.
Let me.
Princess Diana.
Princess Diana.
That's how I knew her.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
She was great. I liked the idea of an evil Professor
Emma
X.
Corrin, I'm right.
It's actually terrifying.
It is.
The idea of an evil Professor X.
Those powers of mind manipulation for evil, fucking hell.
It was
Those
just
long
again
fingers crawling through your mind.
Love the CGI. So
it was so good.
Professor X obviously can do it like telekinetic through talking to people.
You can just sit there.
Hers, she has to actually put her fingers in your brain.
In you.
Yeah, and the way they CGI'd, it's awesome.
Like she pulls through the nose.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
like Paradox is basically being tortured the way she's doing it. Like his eyes are moved aside so her fingers can get through. Like it is. That CGI was wicked, and it made you feel uncomfortable. Like you're looking at it and you're like, oh.
It really. I mean, I'm fine with someone being inside of me as long as we've had a conversation.
Yeah,
first.
yeah. You need consent,
You know what I mean? Right?
No, but she was good. I liked her. She was great. It's just again a kind of weak villain when she didn't really turn it up until near the end, and it was because it's like, oh yeah, there's stakes again.
You're right.
Right.
She did slow down in the middle there for a bit.
Yeah,
And
but she was fine. I liked her. She was kind of sadistic.
it was nice to see in a adjacent character not as a big story.
Yes.
Take the lead as a villain though.
Yeah.
I mean, like obviously you could have like, is Magneto here? No.
Yeah.
And she broke the helmet, right? Like there's the MacGuffin that moved the whole thing around.
They made a reason to include Juggernaut more than just he's there.
Yeah. Well, without Juggernaut, we don't get her.
That's right. And
So-
and the helmet is really the key to defeating her.
It's the red herring.
That's right. So no, but like the performance was great. The character was like, again, the idea of an evil Professor X and the way they do it when she puts Wolverine into the ground, like underneath, and she's like literally throwing him
Up,
around,
down,
move, like that thing was really cool and whatnot. But again, it was just like a toss away villain again. But I guess it makes sense because it's just a void. It's a variant. Like
Well, you're right. This movie can fall into one of many random timelines in the TVA and live at 630 million so far after a week and a half and be successful. It doesn't have to.
It can just be one of those screens on the wall.
Exactly.
Right? That's the beauty about
and
that
that's what's
shot.
irking me. I mean, it's 2 hours.
Why is Thor crying?
Why? But why is Thor crying? Sorry. Fuck the bad storytelling, but why is Thor crying? And I mean, do we ever get back to that? Like, do you?
Well, did you see what Ryan, he posted most recently? Is he said, I'll always know. Basically, yeah, he like posted the photo of Thor holding him, and he's like, I'll always or I'll know this forever. That's all he said.
Listener, if you come to trivia, we're going to put a sign up with the whole screenshot of that actually happening, of Thor crying and holding Deadpool.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to be like, what do you think?
Yeah.
When you come to trivia. So then you can drop your ideas and we'll read them on the show.
But no, it's again, the assignment was Deadpool and Wolverine, and in that regards, they absolutely killed it.
A+. Chef's
absolutely
kiss.
killed it. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was great. It gave me the same feeling No Way Home and Endgame did.
You got this moment in the end.
Oh, and he wears the mask. He wears the mask.
They really hung on to that because I was like, what else is left? We've got all the cameos.
Yeah.
We've got the buddy bromance road trip happening. We have the variants,
like the Deadpool variants, all these crazy Deadpools.
And did you? I didn't. Has anybody else confirmed? I could be wrong.
It is Blake.
We know it's Blake, but
is Blake.
I think Cowboy Deadpool was Matthew McConaughey.
I believe so. It sounded very much like him.
Very much like all right.
He just confirmed that Baby Pool is his daughter.
Family affair. Yeah, I heard
he just
about
confirmed that.
And Tom Holland's brother was.
Yeah, and he didn't know.
He didn't know at all.
I did like Teen Pool, or the Teen Pool was the one that's like, wow, did you take Wolverine's dick out of your mouth long enough to think of that?
How about like the electronic dancing one?
Yeah, that was great. And Headpool,
right?
Yeah, that was.
Well,
crazy.
there was also a Deadpool from the soccer team.
Yeah, that's right. Wrexham. Yeah,
Wrexham had a big, huge.
Yeah, and he did have a Canada pool. He said it was very.
I'm gonna fuck you up, eh?
He posted it. He posted it on his on like I guess Twitter or whatever. He posted it. I saw it on Instagram, but he posted and he's like in the very background. He obviously doesn't have like a huge. But yeah, no. Yeah, and as soon as Lady Deadpool talked, it was like it's Blake. It's 100% Blake.
It was Blake or Taylor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Taylor, I think she would have sung, but I think it was a good idea to do Blake. I think that was the right choice.
It was the right choice.
When Blake wore basically a hot Deadpool dress on the red carpet, I was like, she's Lady Deadpool.
And then Gigi was a hot Wolverine.
Yeah, it was a hot Wolverine. Yeah, I was like, well, she just basically did a mic drop of I'm Lady Deadpool.
Give me those tickets so I can look at those women. Just kidding. The crowds, the critics, everybody online. Like I'm sure it's a fucking. I don't even need to look at Rotten Tomatoes to know that this is a huge stupid fan score.
Yeah,
but the critics are chewing it apart, being like, "Not enough story, just stupidity all the way through." I'm like, what did you expect going into this? When in the trailer, everybody in the trailer, we got the pegging joke.
Yeah.
Like you
pegging's not new to me, but it is for Disney. Wink.
Beautiful. It's an R-rated dude comedy.
Yeah.
Right? Like it is right there in front of you as is without without pretending to be anything else. So you shouldn't be able to say that about a movie that isn't trying to be that.
I heard the writers that got the job originally pitched it as a
Bob's Burgers writers, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And they pitched it as a road trip movie through Fox to get to the MCU. That's the way they pitched it. They're going on a road trip, they're going through Fox, and then they get to the MCU.
It's brilliant.
Right, and that's kind of what they did. And again,
Wolverine is Steve Martin.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is John Candy.
Yeah, it's great.
And those aren't pillows.
And when they team up at the end, it's fucking, it's great.
It's beautiful at the end. And the Rob Liefeld feet.
Yeah.
A little nod to, can he not draw feet? Or when he draws feet, they're...
No, he doesn't. He doesn't draw feet. He just doesn't draw feet. That's his thing.
That's amazing.
He doesn't draw feet.
They made a shoe store dedicated to the guy who hates feet.
And if you know Bob's Burgers, a running joke in the intro is the business next to them changes every time. It's got a new sign, and it's usually a fun sign and stuff like that. So that was a very
it was very Bob's Burgers in the end in the fight.
Yeah.
It had that. It
reminded me of playing the original Capcom, like a two.
Yeah.
It was a video game. The way they shot it, and you see it, the way Hugh Jackman and Deadpool are moving, it's very you're mashing buttons on the controller.
Oh, AB, up, down, up, down.
Hadouken! Fucking
right?
wicked.
Yeah, totally.
It's fucking wicked. It's great.
Okay.
And sorry, they jump out at the bus, and it's the iconic pose.
Oh yeah.
Of Wolverine's screen. They do a slow-mo of them. Nice, beautiful shot, and it's the iconic
big wide splash.
It's the iconic comic book pose of Hugh Jackman yelling with the mask, full fucking claws on. It's great.
We can do this for another hour and totally forget San Diego Comic-Con shit.
You guys are probably bored of this movie now. Oh, the one last one. Sorry, Chris Evans.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
We have to say, sorry. Chris Evans shows up, and my God, do they do a great job of making you think it's definitely Cap. And then, flame on!
Me and Mark looked at each other as it was happening, and I'm like, that's Chris Evans.
Yeah.
And then when you see the arm come across and it's the red and white and blue
I know.
armband, you're like, okay, it's a dystopian Captain America.
Yeah, like maybe it's Mad Max Captain America. Cool. This could be fun.
Right? Maybe
Yeah.
we hear him swear for the first time.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
boy, and do we.
The after credit scene is Chris Evans going
Let's
off.
check the tape.
Oh, fuck. That was great.
But
That was
when
great.
he comes out and is Johnny Blaze.
Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Johnny Blaze, I think, is Ghost
Johnny
Rider.
Nuke Bomb.
But no, and it's funny because the way they do it, he's going to say it. He's going to say Avengers Assemble, and then he goes, Flame on! And it's the exact CGI. Like, it's the same style that they did in the original
It's brilliant.
Fantastic Four. Like, he is playing that same character. It's great.
And
great.
then Pyro comes
Just
over and is just
absorbs
like,
it all.
"Shrook."
And you're like,
Fine.
you're there, and you're like, yeah, that's what would happen probably. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah. That was really funny. And then he eats shit. And then I learned that he is a superhuman because he made it look like he died from a fall. And then he's back kicking.
Yeah.
Instead, dies from getting.
That's
his
right.
flesh ripped up.
He gets
Oh,
launched.
he eats shit.
Yeah.
He hits the sign and like breaks his neck.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought he was dead, and I was like, "That's an awesome way to kill his character."
What's that scene where they get launched and then they keep fighting as they land on that cliff? Like when
Oh,
they get,
yeah.
they get shot out of wherever they were.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to-
Their fight scenes were hard.
Yeah, they were great.
And I mean, it's two guys. One guy who has absolutely no problem breaking you into two in the weirdest, most
Yeah.
grossest ways, and another guy who's just a complete brutal animal.
Yeah.
The two of them fighting some like you're
Yeah.
Pope when you're left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, but yeah, that's
Overall,
phenomenal.
how many?
I gave it a 4 out of 5, but I will say movie wise, 4 out of 5, because I did want just a little bit of like Secret Wars tease or like pushing the MCU just a little bit. Just a little bit.
You got edged, bud.
Yeah, I got edged, but again, fan service wise, it's a 6 out of 5. It's fucking unreal.
Yeah.
Like, this is a movie I'm gonna buy. Can't wait to watch again in theaters. Like, it's a multiple watch in theaters just because of the fan service alone.
I'll give it movie wise, it's a 4 out of 5 Wolverine cowls.
Yeah,
It was
Oof.
right, and
Ooh,
it was
that
like,
cowl was beautiful.
it was just
and he puts
buried.
it on like a hood, just like
Right?
the '90s cartoon. Like, it's the hood and the back. Oh, that was great.
And then it's the Deadpool eyes, right? Like
Yeah,
it's-
yeah.
Because
It's
I
the
thought
white
they,
eyes,
I thought they
yeah.
were gonna go like Lucha Libre mask with him.
I
right?
think so. I think when they filmed it, just like I think they did that, and then maybe they did try, but I think just because they're like, if it works with Deadpool, why not Wolverine? And it's drawn with white eyes, and that's
It
why
was
they.
so beautiful.
It was beautiful, man.
And the big cowl.
Oh,
with the
yeah.
huge fins coming.
And what does he
back.
say? He even says, he's like, "Oh my fuck, you waited till now to do this." Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
It's great.
4 out of 5 for movie wise, but like nerd fan.
They had a very awesome
22
quote.
out of 5, 27 out of 5.
Yeah.
I was happy. I was smiling. I was in tears. I had nostalgia. I got to say goodbye to some friends in the end credit when they did
That
the,
was a
the-
beautiful.
That
I
was
really
so
liked
beautiful.
that. I really liked
As
that.
much as
that
they
was
bashed
great.
the shit out of it,
But it was a nice tribute. Like, it is a nice
you can't,
farewell
you can't
to the
leave
Fox.
without paying attention
Yeah,
to that.
they made fun of Disney more than Fox, in my opinion. They gave a tribute to Fox in
They
this
did.
whole thing. And I love the interview, and it makes so much sense when they said the first time they came out in their full ketchup and mustard, they were in the full getup. Crew members were crying and going up to them and being like, "This is the best day of my life."
And that's what it
And you
should
get it.
be.
Yeah.
Everybody there should be that happy,
Yeah.
having that much fun.
Yeah, remember the first set photos where we saw him in the suit, and we were like, saw Ryan in the suit, and we were like, "Holy shit, this is real."
I always thought that I would just see photos on Instagram and clips that would tease the shit out of me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like little fits back and
But-
forth about the feud. And that would be it. And that would be fine because we could always be like, well, what if? And now we're done. Right?
And this is where Marvel should be at. The MCU should be at that endgame moment where Cap picks up Thor's hammer. And you're like, what? That's what should happen. Wolverine puts on the mask. Like, we should be at that point where every movie has an endgame moment of like, Cap grabs that.
Yes.
Like, it should be, because that's where we're at.
And that's what happens in the end of a comic book. A big
Yeah.
stupid comic
That's
book
right.
ending.
That's right.
And I mean, I understand that, and you do too, that when you're taking a comic book and trying to make it into a movie, you have a broader audience. It's a bigger risk, right?
Sure.
It's not $6.99 at a corner
But-
store. But at the same time, it should have all of the beats
That's
that
right.
reflect what a comic book is.
And Deadpool 3 was rated fucking R, and it broke all these fucking records and made all this
Right,
money.
fuck?
And that's because we're adults. That was the adult fans, not
Yeah.
the kids.
No.
That was us. And who bought all those popcorn buckets that we might be fucking? Adults, not the kids.
Would you fuck it?
Oh man,
Right here, right now. Would
have
you fuck it?
Have you been following the
jizz,
Deadpool
the
social
butter
media?
jizz coming out of the?
No, the Deadpool social media page is showing alternatives you can do with the bucket. So today it was you could plant a flower, a giant plant in it. And they have it's like a tutorial. So they're like, put the dirt in first, and it's the fucking full bucket.
Put your seed in.
And it's a bird's eye view, so you see the mouth open, and then putting in it's so funny.
It's like a YouTube tutorial.
Yeah, literally.
That's amazing.
It's hilarious. So they're showing alternatives to do with the bucket. Yeah.
All right. We're gonna leave Deadpool dead for a minute here. We're gonna put him in the past.
Yeah. Thank you,
You're welcome.
Disney, for
Thank
Deadpool.
you.
Thank
Oh,
you,
not me.
Michael. Thank you, Michael.
Don't think.
But I'm actually thankful. I didn't think I would say this, but thank you, Disney, for Deadpool 3. It was brilliant. It was brilliant, and I'm excited for what else you've announced, which lead us to.
Well, okay, let's start there. Right, there's a lot that happened this weekend, and there's some stuff that we know off the top of our head that we just got to get out onto you people. So, let's start off with the big one, and we'll start off. We'll edge listener here. We'll start off with Doctor Doom. Avengers Doctor Doom and Avengers Secret War has been confirmed.
Yes, and I believe he's going to be in Fantastic Four as well.
More than likely.
Yes.
I imagine a big end credit, like we were introduced to Thanos. But the Russo brothers, if you didn't know, have come back to take us back to a time where Marvel movies were
Prestige worldwide.
boats and hoes, but they were. And,
They were.
and it was.
They've had the best record in terms of delivering fucking epic Marvel movies.
They are the biggest. Yeah,
Yeah.
they are. And I mean, Black Panther also up there, just not.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's budget wise, right? That
But
just
it's Disney. I feel like, yes, they're playing it safe but smart. They panicked with Kang, and they went to the Russos, and they're like, what would you guys do? And the Russos obviously pitched Doctor Doom.
it is time.
Yeah.
No more shenanigans.
Yeah.
Like we've
Mutants
just
are
mentioned,
here.
Mutants are here.
You're doing Fantastic Four set in the 60s. Awesome. Galactus is coming. What are we waiting for?
Right.
What the fuck? How do we have Galactus and not X-Men?
And
What's going on?
We all know that in the boardroom of the corporate-owned movie studio is where these decisions get made.
Yeah.
And we also know that the majority stakeholders were like,
How many toys can we make?
how many toys can we make? How long can we push this for?
Yeah.
And then now they've been approached. And I imagine someone walked in that room and went, do we want Robert Downey Jr. again? And everybody was like, get Robert Downey Jr. down here.
I bet you $20 when Disney went to the Russos were like, RDJ is Doctor Doom.
Well, and RDJ has said, I'll come back if the Russos come back.
Yeah.
Because he knows that they'll Sherpa this forward. And
Also, he's playing a new character. Like, it's really, from an actor standpoint, especially RDJ, he gets a new character to get obsessed with that fans are going to fucking glorify him for.
well, now,
It's kind of a dream come true.
there you go. Spoiler alert, listener, if you didn't know. This weekend, there's some fan backlash. I mean, I'm not surprised there's fan backlash about
Yeah,
this.
there's a lot of mixed feelings.
I will say
People wanted Jared Leto.
they
You
wanted
saw that video, right?
They wanted bloody tampons on set. Is that what you're saying?
Right before they take off the mask, someone's like, Jared Leto.
Someone said that there?
You didn't see that? Oh,
No.
that's like that was one of the first videos that started trending because they were right in the pit, and it's right when RDJ comes out. He grabs the mask, and someone goes, Jared Leto, and then he takes it off, and then you hear like, ah, and I just laugh. So many people are commenting it should have been Jared Leto. Like as a joke, I think
That's the risk you run when you do a big surprise reveal.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Someone's gonna cut your thunder.
Yeah,
out from
yeah,
under
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But when that was announced, initially, may have heard it here before. I do have some gripes about people who wear the same thing to work every day. It scares me. I don't think you're human. If you dress like Kevin Feige, wear a shirt. Just wear a fucking t-shirt, man.
You're,
show us that you have show us that you make a
you're
decision.
Steve Jobs, you're not a Steve Jobs fan.
Marvel is not Steve Jobs, okay? Marvel is not Apple, okay? If we start to make Marvel Apple,
getting there.
Marvel loses its shine if it gets that big.
Yeah.
It has to stay nerdy. It has to stay within the confines of the comic book genre.
Which I think they're trying to do. I think they're doing
They're
it.
going back to basics. But
Yeah.
initially, I can tell you, I was like, this is cheap. This is easy.
Yeah.
This is studio driven.
Yeah.
This is shareholder pressure. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of things. But
It's
then
too
I talk,
safe. Like
it's
you're
too
playing it too. Like this is ridiculous. That
Russo
you're like-
brothers are back. Okay, fine. Okay, I trust the Russo brothers. Robert Downey
Right.
Jr. back. Okay, what? This feels like The Force Awakens is what this feels like, right? A
Yeah.
safe.
We're getting a Jake Skywalker instead of Luke Skywalker kind
Yeah,
of thing. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So it irked me. And then Mark and me talked, and Mark said, there's a lot of stories that are Dr. Doom and Iron Man where there's an AI of Tony Stark that gets turned into Dr. Doom. And I was like, are we going to Jarvis Dr. Doom? Because Dr. Doom is essentially the most smartest man on the planet, smarter than Tony Stark. Well, how do we get smarter than Tony Stark? We take Tony Stark's AI and we accidentally create Iron Man Dr. Doom. When I heard that alone made it okay, because if it's comic book canon, it made me think, okay, it's not just a cheap and easy get. It's actually in lore. And that's where my mind changed. Now I still go, well, there's a ton of people we could have casted, but because he played Iron Man.
Yeah.
And because he played him so goddamn well and invented the comic book genre. You don't have any of this if you don't have Iron Man. So I'm 70-30 now. 70, I'm like, okay, I can put up with this. 30 of me is just hesitant.
Well,
your thoughts?
Marvel is now taking they're taking the whole variant thing and they're having more fun with it, I think. Because instead of seeing the same actor playing the same, instead of us seeing 18 different variants of specifically Tony Stark, what if one of them, the variant is Victor Von Doom? And that's actually a variant. And it would make sense that it would be the same person. It's just that there could be
it is what if.
Right.
What if Tony Stark was Victor Von Doom?
Yeah, instead of evil Iron Man, it's just an evil Tony Stark. What if evil Iron Man is actually Victor Von Doom?
Yes.
And that is evil Iron Man, right? Also, I read that there is a storyline where after Secret Wars, Doctor Doom becomes Iron Man.
I've also heard that now since I've been looking into this.
Right. We go down this hole, which is cool. It's cool to go down because there's so many different...
Well, he tries to find redemption after Secret Wars, but it doesn't stick, right?
Secret Wars changes his
perspective on what
and he wants to try and do good, so he becomes Iron Man. And what I think is neat...
And it's like a Doctor Doom-colored Iron Man suit, essentially.
Yeah. And there's also Infamous Iron Man, which is, I believe that storyline it's after Secret Wars he becomes... So I think it's called Infamous Iron Man. I was reading it, but yeah, so and you're right, doesn't stick eventually, which could still, what I think Marvel's doing and what I'm kind of hoping, I think I kind of texted you this and it makes more sense to say it, is I think the events of Secret Wars kind of reset the MCU. They reset because there's all these variants. It's a variant war, basically.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Secret Wars a big moment in comic book history?
Yeah, it reset everything. So what it did was it ended you had Spectacular Spider-Man, Unlimited Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and they're all in one timeline. What Secret Wars did is it reset everything. So there was one timeline where everyone so now we go back to one Spider-Man, not 5 Spider-Mans. There's one now. In one timeline. There's no more variants. There's no more side timelines. So what I think the MCU
That's what Secret Wars.
That's what Secret Wars. So I think what the MCU is going to do is after Secret Wars, it's going to go where it resets back to Phase 1, 2008, Iron Man 1, and that is Doctor Doom becoming Iron Man. And it's actually...
You think they're going to loop it?
I think they're going to loop it. And then that closes... that chapter of the MCU, the sacred timeline, is safe. It's in a loop, but it's safe. And then
interesting. I like this.
And then now Marvel has basically said, if you guys really want an interconnected story where everything leads to a big overall timeline, blah, 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 you now have Phase 1 to 5. Do it. But here on out, we now have the MCU reset.
So you think that Secret Wars is going to close this entire chapter?
I think it's going to close this chapter, and it now is going to create one timeline where everyone's there. So we get a day one MCU, but the X-Men, Avengers, Fantastic Four, Doom, everyone's there. And they don't have to do an origin story of, well, how come Spider-Man's just showing up now and we've had the MCU for 10 years? Or why they don't have to do that anymore. We now have the events of Secret Wars. And now we're kids in a comic book store, and we're going to let everyone just play. We're going to let everybody play around and see what happens.
Now, I'll play devil's advocate. That's a lot for a layman. That's a lot for someone who's a passerby. That's a lot for someone who has not. So if that's what you're saying to happen, then that means that anything going forward has to be not origin story, but
they could do whatever they want. They could.
Like I like your loop idea. I like though that if it does reset for the movie version instead of following the comic book so hard, but for the movie version that then breaks out all the X-Men stories we've never had, and it breaks out all the Fantastic Four stories we've never
That's
had.
what I'm saying. Like you could do a Calvarine movie.
Yes,
that's its own thing.
Yes.
Like, basically, they could kind of do what DC's playing around with Batman. They're going to have a DCU extended universe Batman, which is All in the Family or whatever that one. Not All in the it's called like Batman. They announced it's Batman and Robin. It's a Batman and Robin story where it's Damian Wayne is playing Robin. So that's going to be the one that's shared with the new Superman and everything. But Pattinson's Batman with Penguin is its own separate thing.
Yes.
That's not going to overlap with what they're doing. I think the MCU is going to do exactly that on a bigger scale. They're going to say...
But you think mechanically they're going to do it so it ties into their movies and then break away.
Yeah.
Where I would rather them just be like, we keep going, but this point is we break off now that we've got everybody here.
And they still could. And that's why I'm
keep
saying,
the multiple timelines.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's easy to digest.
Yeah, and I think for me, I just keep having this idea. I love in Iron Man 1 when the missile hits, he wakes up in the cave, right? Dr. Doom could reset when he's becoming Iron Man. He could put himself in a timeline where it's when Tony Stark wakes up in the cave.
And that's Victor Von Doom.
It's Victor Von Doom, but he's Tony Stark, and he wakes up in the cave, and he's redeeming. That's his redemption story. And his redemption story ultimately leads to his downfall that loops back to a redemption. And again, it's just
so what? Because Robert Downey Jr. will play Victor Von Doom.
That's right.
It makes sense that in your loop, when Tony Stark wakes up in the cave,
it's the same.
It's
actor.
Not the RDJ who's played Iron Man as Tony Stark for us.
Right.
It's Victor Von Doom starting his journey.
That's right. And we're going to see it from Doom's side. So when he wakes up in the cave,
I love that because that's fucking cool.
It's cool.
And
it could work.
It could
really work. And it makes sense why
fixes a lot of shit.
Well, because I'm also like, there's no way that RDJ is just going to be Doom from like for the next like 10 years. Like, is that really the game plan? That seems kind of wild to me.
I think we need to just be like a good one, maybe two Fantastic Fours.
Yeah.
And then they just are part of everything.
That's got to be a variant that's got to find its way into one timeline because they're set in the 60s. It's the space race in the 60s. Right? How the fuck do they explain? And that's what I'm saying. If RDJ's playing Doom in that variant is from the 60s, there's got to be this, what brings the variance, and that's Doomsday. I think it's going to bring...
You're thinking in as time as linear where like, if he's that one in the 60s, he can just insert himself into whatever other timeline that he wants at that age and then
that's what I think Doomsday. I think Doomsday is his ultimate rise, bringing all the variants together because it's chaos. And Loki already teased that the multiverses will battle, and we're trying to prevent that. That's why they're like spiraling. Doomsday,
you know what? Even for
and then
people,
Secret Wars is the variants fight for.
If somebody even just writes in, oh yeah, Kang was working for Doom all along, we're accepting.
Or they could have literally the big after credits scene in Quantumania was there's a planet of variants of Kangs.
Yes.
You see all these, it's like
the
an
Egyptian
arena.
Kang,
Yeah, it's like an arena.
DJ Kang.
Yeah.
Fireman Kang.
Right. So you have that's scary. But Doom could be one step ahead of it and just destroy that planet or destroy that timeline.
Or have made those Kangs.
And there's Kang gone. And Thanos could be something where he's inspired. That's what inspires him. He's like, I think Thanos had the right idea. He just didn't do it right. So I'm going to finish what my grandfather started.
I'm going to do them all.
But no, like, you know, and the loop thing to me, because I'm like, how are they going to really get us on board with not only RDJ as Doom, but us being okay with the fact that he was Iron Man, right? And there's a legacy there. But if it loops into this idea that he does become, it's the same character, it's just the variant finds a way to loop it into the one. I don't know, like there's so much they can play around with. Like there really is. For all I know, they are making Downey Jr. Doom for the next 10 years of the MCU. You know what I mean? Like,
keep talking.
Oh, sorry, yeah, but
up the next item.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, I'm excited because if it's the Russos and they're letting the Russos have full creative freedom the way they did with Infinity War and Endgame, whatever they do, it'll at least be exciting to watch. Even if I'm like, ooh, I don't know, I think there's going to still be moments throughout Doomsday and Secret Wars where we're like, holy fuck. right?
There's a lot of room to play.
And there's rumors that Andrew Garfield's being talked to come Tobey Maguire back for Secret Wars because again, all the variants.
Because it made money, Charles.
Well, and all the whole if they're going to do the comics, it's all the variants come to fight for survival.
That's true, and then one variant survives, and that's the new.
And they could have Cavalrine and Hugh Jackman. Like they could do that. They could have them all playing.
I don't think Hugh Jackman's body can take this anymore.
He's doing it until he's 90,
How about
Michael.
that? Okay,
I don't think you remember
we
that.
totally forgot about the 6-pack shot.
Oh, and the pubes.
In the end, right? When they're holding each
and
other.
his pubes coming through, and he just like gives them a like, yeah. And I love when he comes back and he's still shirtless, and the girl's like, yeah, he looks real good. And they're like, okay, get him a shirt.
That
put a shirt on him.
That was all Hugh.
That was great. Oh man, Hugh was posting
That's brown rice and chicken.
But how funny is that? He got so ripped, and for one solid shot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the arms need to be the way they are, and you're not going to work the arms and leave the guts.
It was just the way that they worked it in, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's funny that electricity burns just the shirt, but not the pants. And the
I have
shirt in a
questions
beautiful way.
I have questions about that. And like a hero pose, nonetheless, right? Like holding on. And
if I was 50 fucking something, and I was like, I'm not even that healthy at half his age.
let's switch to new Transformers 1 trailer. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, you know what?
Did you watch the trailer for it?
It looks okay. I like the idea.
You like teenage robots?
I like the idea that they're trying something we haven't seen, and the
Yeah.
idea that they're friends first. Like, I don't know if this is from a comic book or anything.
I don't know much about it. I just know Brian
I like-
Tyree Henry and Chris Hemsworth are
Yeah.
going to be the star robots.
And I like the animation looks good.
And it's Optimus something else. It's
they're not their names. It's like John Smith. And,
You have to earn a Prime ship, I guess.
yeah,
right.
yeah,
You
because
just
it's a
can't-
rank.
Yes,
It's a rank, I believe. So,
I mean,
but it's neat, and it's cool to see how Megatron didn't start off just as a dick.
right.
Like, yeah,
It's Transformers in the high school halls.
he's a bad circuit.
he's a little short. No,
Johnny
I mean,
5.
this just makes me remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the new animated one. Like, this new fresh line of like animation's cheaper. It's still good,
And
but
can
it's
have
cheaper.
more fun because
you can have
it
more
is.
fun
Yeah.
because you can do a lot more with
Yeah.
it. So I mean, I'm not going to go to the theater for it, but I'm excited to see.
Yeah, like it'll be fun to watch when it's.
I'm excited to
streaming.
have a new version of what we grew up with.
I also hope they will continue what they did with Rise of the Beasts.
In what?
The live action, the latest live action.
Well, they're going to do
Transformers.
the G.I. Joe Transformer
They are,
crossover.
yeah. They
I've
announced
heard,
that. Yeah, they are doing that. Well, they really set it up at the end, right?
I mean, when Hasbro owns both,
yeah,
it only takes like one or two good pitches to be like, sure, let's put them in the same universe.
if they try to capture the,
How are you
going to
do that? How is the real American hero going to find the robots?
So the way it ended was, remember, I think what's doing it
Which
is
one?
When Rise of the Beasts. Remember the big
yeah, because he's
thing?
in the mech suit.
That's right.
That's what
I think that's what's going to do it. That's what's going to make the G.I. Joes and the Transformers ultimately like have an alliance.
Sure, but
Yeah.
so we're saying that everything the Joes have been doing has been happening in the 90s at the same time as
I guess
Rise
so,
of the
yeah.
Beasts.
But what's cool about that is we're going to get 90s iconic
Hey,
G.I. Joes.
don't get me wrong. That
Cobra Commander, like old G's suit, that'll be wicked.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm 100%
I think that's
down.
going to be sick.
But at the same time, like Hawk, Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you know what? Rise of the Beast was a lot of fun. And they did what
The
Wolverine...
soundtrack was so good.
And they did what Wolverine and Deadpool did. When it was about the Transformers, total fan service. It was the 90s looks.
Yeah.
You could tell who every Transformer was. Bright colors. It was great, man. It was exactly what you wanted. If they keep doing that, I'm down.
Well,
I've been more into Transformers than G.I. Joes, but seeing a crossover, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Beast Wars was so good. Like,
Yeah.
it brought me back into
Yeah.
the Transformers universe.
When they're like, when he's like Autobots, and then he's like Maximals, maximize.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just chills. And when they do finally maximize, it was so good.
the Hawk, the
Yeah.
Gorilla, the Cheetah. Oh
was
my
great,
God.
man.
It was, and they pulled everybody from the original cartoon.
Yeah.
It was YTV when I watched that shit.
Yeah, man. And they went for the OG look. Like, it was the same color scheme. Yeah.
The Crow. They did I think a quick sequence or a new clip from the Crow.
I'm such a fan.
Is this something of you? Are you gonna go see this?
I'm such a fan of the original, but this one does not look good to me. It just doesn't. It looks like it's trying.
It looks like
way-
cheap violence, and
Yeah.
I love cheap violence, but this
but not
looks
in a good way.
not in a good way.
Yeah, like it looks like I just.
There's a shotgun
It's not
shot
grabbing me.
in the trailer that the guy's head is painted on, like Jackson Pollock.
Yeah, and that's like, I don't know.
I was like, what are we doing here?
The original
And
one
why are we
was-
doing this?
Yeah.
Like what?
And why now? Like, I don't get it. Why the crow? Like, why now?
Who's doing it? This feels like a this
Good
feels
for
like
Skarsgård. He's doing everything.
This feels like a Sony mistake.
Yeah, it feels like Morbius team making a Crow remake. Like, I don't know. It's just not. If I do watch it, it's going to be on streaming, and it's going to be for the nerdies to be like, is this something that is actually going to surprise me, or is this a worse
visually?
movie?
It looks cool.
It looks interesting. The gothic take on it is very comic. Like it's showing a little homage to the comic book.
I think that's
do
why
see
we're
that.
getting this, because comic book movies. This
Yes.
is comic book adjacent,
And this one is trying to follow a little bit more of the comic book, which the 90s one didn't follow the comic book as closely. I think this one's trying to be more comic book accurate. I just doesn't really look great to me.
It looks supernatural in
Yeah.
a way that originally, I mean, the campiness of the first one is because
Yeah.
of its time, but
and the practical effects of the
Yeah.
thing, right? This one looks a lot of like, oh, there's a filter where everything looks painted.
yes,
You know what I mean? And I get it, but it's not in a way where I'm like, ew.
the crow flying in is a physical bird
Yeah.
versus like this
Yeah.
being some sort of smoke monster,
Yeah.
or like even a symbiote,
Yes.
right? Like
yeah.
very-
Yeah. Yeah.
very exoskeleton.
Yeah. I also
Esque.
don't really like him as the Crow, but I guess I don't know. I don't know. He looks more like a villain to me than the Crow.
he does.
Yeah.
And he was great as Pennywise, and he was great.
I'm more excited for that show.
Yeah.
Welcome to Derry, I think it's called. Like
Yes.
that I'm more excited to see him be Pennywise. I'm more into than him as the Crow.
What else do we have this weekend or this past weekend?
Yeah, RDJ really
wow.
stole the show.
I feel that this was something you may have wanted to talk about. New DLC content
Yeah,
for
man.
Mortal Kombat.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
They got fucking Ghostface, Conan.
Noob Sabot. I don't know who that is.
Noob
and-
Sabot is Sub-Zero when he comes back.
Oh, Noob.
He dies and then he comes back as a new character.
And Noob being new.
Noob.
That's funny. I like that.
And fucking what's his face? What is it? Robert Patrick from T2.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Liquid 1000.
Cyrax, Sector, Noob Sabot, T1000, Ghostface from Screaming Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
I heard
Sick.
about these before, like about a year ago when they were starting to talk about them. And
Yes.
finally
Oh,
they've...
and they're bringing back animalities. So
Yes,
you can
yes.
transform into an animal and do a fatality.
Like you can be the snake if you were
Yeah, and actually
Venom.
that's right,
Yeah.
that's right. It's
or
cool.
like a scorpion if you were Scorpion.
Yeah, Scorpion,
Yeah.
so he can
Wasn't
do a
Sub-Zero
fatality.
like a polar bear or
Something
shit?
like that, yeah. Or like the what is it? The Yeti is like a Yeti or something. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. It's cool. It's
really love that they're still making this game.
well, and what they're
I
doing.
mean, even with the movie doing so well, the game still
So-
being made is.
the reason why it's called Mortal Kombat 1, because I know you don't play them as much, but Mortal Kombat 11 they started making a single player campaign that actually has a very cool storyline. And the way
Like, are you picking challenges? And
the
Or are
way
you just moving up a temple tower like you
So
were in
they
the
have-
original arcade?
they still have that. That is that's
classic mode.
a game mode you can put on, but they have a storyline where it's kind of like what the
Are
Injustice
you going
games.
to a tournament?
Well,
with
it's what the
Injustice.
Injustice games did. So like
There's a
someone's trying.
backstory.
That's right. And
Okay.
there'll be like in chapter 1 you're playing Liu Kang. In chapter 2 you're playing Scorpion.
So you're
In
getting a
chapter
little
3
backstory of Scorpion
Yeah.
with his brother with Sub-Zero.
That's right.
Okay.
So the way the storyline of 11 is you basically have someone who can manipulate timelines. And what she's doing is she is going to end. So each game is
Is
a
that why
separate
Conan's
timeline.
allowed in this?
So, yeah, each game is a separate. It's Warner Brothers. They own it. It's just whatever they own the rights to.
Warner Brothers universe.
Yeah, are you gonna come here?
Here, Sub-Zero. Come here.
In MK11, one of the downloadable packs has Arnold's
Oh my god.
Terminator. But anyways, so 11, what it did was it basically had a character that manipulated timelines. Liu Kang ended up, so you find out Raiden is one of the gods that looks over the Earth realm.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So Raiden has actually been training Liu Kang this whole time to take over as god of the Earth realm.
Interesting.
And Liu Kang not only steps up, but he combines Raiden's power with his. So he's a fire
So when
lightning
he
god.
fly one side of the screen to the other with lightning bolts in his kick per se?
and then shoot, and then when he's going back, shoot fire as he's doing it. He has both of his abilities. Yeah. So now he's a god. So it's Liu Kang god now, and he goes into god. He basically Super Saiyans to god mode. He absorbs Raiden's power, becomes god, and then fights this time
Time
villain.
baddie.
And when he kills her, he basically takes her power, and he's looking after the hourglass that's in charge of all the realms, and he's protecting it. But what he does is he resets the universe to MK1.
Oh, cool.
So that's why it's called MK1. So now they're bringing in all these they're bringing back all the stuff that's been working from the best of all the video games, but bringing it slowly into MK1.
Very smart.
So animalities, it's awesome. It's really great.
It's for the fans version.
It's great, man. They did such a good job with it. Oh, this is huge.
So I still haven't seen this season. I haven't seen 4
You haven't
yet.
seen. You haven't
I
seen,
wanted it
okay.
to come out. I liked when I binged it,
Dude.
So
I binged it
waited
too,
on this one.
and it was totally worth waiting.
Okay.
Binged the fuck out of it, and I'm so happy I did.
So what we're talking about, listener, The Boys get a prequel series following 2 of its biggest villains. This is great,
Huge,
because these were the 2 old, the geriatrics of the crew, if you will.
The scariest villains.
So it's Soldier Boy and what's her name?
Stormfront or Nazi
or
super Nazi
or second Hitler.
Yeah.
No, they're getting a 1950s prequel
Yeah,
story.
it's the
of when
beginning
they
of
were,
Vought.
basically.
Yeah, you're seeing the downfall of when.
I think it's post World War II, Cold War era stuff. I think is what they're getting into.
So you're gonna see basically the boys.
Vought is definitely a corporation that made their money during World War II. Which
That's
is
right.
Gonna be in this.
That's
shit.
right, and
With stolen German technology. I bet.
the boys did a really good job of giving you a little bit of backstory on Stormfront, how we found out she was a super Nazi.
Yeah.
We're now going to see that. Instead of it being a little bit of like a clip or a flashback, we're actually going to see that. And we know Soldier Boy's story, right?
Incredibly right wing.
Right. So, and it's genius too for them to do this because they already announced there's one more season of The Boys and it's ending. So now we have
and it's
something
so smart to go on a
so
high
smart
note.
on a high. Oh, dude, and you don't even know how 4 ends. So like, but it's genius to be like, we still have a fix for you guys. Like The Boys is gonna end, but we're still gonna have something for you guys to still be in that universe, and you're gonna fucking love it.
I loved Soldier Boy showing up. I thought he was like
He's great.
Everything about this series, not being someone who read the comic books, it was always fun because it's like, well, someone finally thought, what if superheroes were bad? Like
And not
every
only bad,
single
but like,
thing we watch,
delinquents.
Delinquents, abuse of power.
Yeah, basically humans,
megalomaniacal, like
real humans
yeah.
with abilities, which
Yeah.
makes them shittier people.
But then finding out that they were all made from real humans, makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
right.
Vought
Like
juice.
Vought juice, Vought blue. But like knowing that they were once a human, instead of always being superheroes who've turned bad, that's what makes them interesting.
And I think it's what you said. It's obviously started as to make super Nazis.
Yes.
Right.
100%.
But then it was like, maybe we can manipulate them if they're babies.
Like
Homelander.
this feels very Operation Paperclip.
Yeah.
This feels post 1945.
Yeah.
Of like taking Germany's best scientists.
Yeah.
Like Werner von Braun and all that shit and all those doctors.
You work for us now. You work for Vought.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Vought feels very German.
Or they basically
right?
took their super soldier recipe, killed all of
yes.
them, and then it's like, okay, give it
Germany
to the
was interested, very, very.
Yeah.
Hitler was very interested in poking things into people and making
that's
them
why
stronger.
The whole Captain America thing is based on that.
Yes, the super serum.
It's what if the Americans made it first, basically. But Hitler was very obsessed with science and trying to make this a super
he was
soldier.
a tech bro before anybody was a tech bro.
Yeah, literally. He had his own Silicon Valley, which was Nazi Valley.
He wanted the spear that killed Jesus because he figured that would make him the most powerful being on the planet.
He wanted the 10 Commandments.
Right?
Yeah.
He wanted
no, but it's scary. The Nazi science shit during it's kind of terrifying. And what's neat is you're going to see
what do humans do when they're allowed to do whatever they want with science?
Of course.
We're going to experiment on
and when
each
it's
other.
for the good of your country, right? That's the easiest way to
the
manipulate
rise of Germany. Don't worry. You'll have 4 arms, but you'll be superpower. I'm excited for this.
And she they both proved like their performances are incredible. So to see them at even their most ruthless, right?
The two of them together are worse than Homelander.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to see a whole show of
like
just
she's the one who pushed Homelander.
Yeah,
right.
Oh yeah,
without
fucking
her
in the alley.
Yeah,
and then punching that through that dude's head while they're
holding it there. It
it was crazy when she's like, "Laser my tits." Remember that whole thing? Yeah. Oh my god, that was amazing. She's lasering.
Burn my boobs.
Yeah, she's like,
bitch.
laser my tits, and they're both getting off on it. That was insane. It was insane.
Creature Commandos trailer first look. I didn't get a chance to watch it before we started because I got home from work late. But
I don't even know what the fuck this is.
So Creature Commandos is another Amanda Waller project, very suicide adjacent.
Oh, and it's an animated.
It's an animated
cool.
one. So the trailers come out for it.
I mean, again, anything James Gunn's doing, I'm interested in. I'll check it out.
And that's where me and you will differ today.
Oh. He doesn't wear the same clothes all the time.
I know he doesn't. And fuck you. I can appreciate that.
You're nervous about a Superman.
I was raised on Reeve, and I came back for Cavill.
Yeah.
And when they took Cavill away from me, I was like, no. This was good.
I know.
This was great. This was wonderful. We were doing well here.
I know.
Everybody, no one had anything to say.
They ruined Superman for him. They fucked over Superman.
He will never put on a cape made of
but he'll be a Cavalrine.
Claws before cape, right?
But yeah,
cowl before cape.
That's what I said. I was like, the studio ruined that for him, though. Because Man of Steel was
the
great.
The Rock ruined that, basically.
Yeah.
The Rock went and threw his fucking weight around and asked for that. And then if he hadn't asked for that, I mean, who knows?
The fact that we got, like, we didn't get a Man of Steel 2, but we got Blue Beetle is just like, and nothing against Blue Beetle. It was fun and whatnot. But again, it's fucking Superman. Like,
I'm all for Suicide Squad stuff that he's done. I'm all for Guardian stuff that he's done.
And
I like
Peacemaker,
that. And Peacemaker was really good.
It was great.
But these are all things that I had never had something before.
Yeah.
So I am going in hesitant. I'm going in with some questions.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Because you broke up with me and I wasn't ready to let you go.
I'm still not over it.
I'm not over you, Henry, right?
Yeah.
And
believe it or not, I felt a little bit the same way when Affleck's Batman was done and it was Pattinson. I was kind of like, fuck.
Hang on,
right?
There's a bunch of stuff that came from DC.
For the listeners that don't know, I was a big fan of Affleck's Batman. Not Affleck.
I liked Affleck's Batman too.
I thought his
had
Batman
no
was
with
awesome. I really liked his Batman. I wanted to see more of it. I really wanted his own movie.
So,
but
Creature Commandos for you.
It looks wild.
It's Gods and Monsters is in the realm of the new. That's the chapter name for the new DC.
Oh, that's
stuff.
right. That's right.
So it makes perfect sense that we have these are the monsters,
right? And then Superman's a god.
Superman's the god, right?
Yeah.
It just looks like a ragtag of villains.
Yeah, it's cool
that are being put together.
It's like Suicide Squad, but even fucking crazier.
Suggesting the series is totally similar against Suicide Squad, but I think they'll be really encouraged to see how completely it's going to inform this.
Who's
new
voicing
version.
Amanda Waller? Is it Viola Davis?
I would hope so.
I heard she's still playing. I heard
Viola Davis scares me.
I hear she's supposed to still be Amanda Waller in Gunn's universe.
Good.
So.
Keep some of the.
He said he's keeping her.
Well, he's keeping everybody, his friends and family.
Harley Quinn. I believe Margot Robbie is still going to be as Harley Quinn. I mean, she was in Suicide Squad, so
he did release. Gunn also released this weekend a picture of the helmet on.
Yeah, and he said that Peacemaker. He said Peacemaker season 2 is going to take place after Superman. So the events of Superman.
I would enjoy seeing him and Superman interact together.
For all you know, they could be. That's why it's going to lead into peace. That's what I'm thinking.
That would be a comedy of errors.
Well, and he's made so many Superman jokes in season 1, right? Like,
I mean, he believes he is the best for America.
Yeah.
So running into a god who's charming and kind and
you know what they can also kind of do? He can kind of be DC's Deadpool because, for instance, Jason Momoa is no longer Aquaman. Ezra Miller's no longer the Flash, but Peacemaker saw Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
That's true.
Right, so he can kind of have a Deadpool fun with that where, fuck, you guys change every couple of years or something. Do you know what I mean? Like
Penguin, Joker, Fois la Deux, the Batman Part 2. Have you seen the trailer for it? They just did their panel.
So I will say what's making me most intrigued is Gaga. I'm a huge Lady Gaga fan. The idea of her playing Harley Quinn as a musical idea, I'm very into. It looks cool, but Do
you think they're
even okay.
Like? Do you think they're going to confirm where we are? Like, whose Batman this could be? Whose Penguin?
I don't think Batman's in his universe.
Okay,
I don't think there is.
Like,
that's why I'm kind of like.
So you don't think this could be the Matt Reeves Batman? You don't think this could be the Penguin Joker?
No, because I mean, this is set in the 90s. At least the first one was.
When was was Batman Year One set?
Matt Reeves is like modern day.
Yeah, but he didn't have tech that's really modern day. I know they didn't give it to.
He's year 2.
Okay,
that's what I'm thinking.
I know he needs to do his homework and figure out better tech.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying
shit.
He had contact lenses that videotape stuff.
Yeah, that's modern day.
Okay, you're right. I just realized.
And the way he was looping all the video, like.
Okay, shut up. It just looked very rudimentary.
Because I think that's Reeves wants to show him a young, inexperienced Batman. Because again, when you get to Michael Keaton Batman, he just fucking supercomputer. Bat computer, help, like, you know what I mean?
Supercomputer, Wilfred, do this.
Yeah, right. Like
Alfred, not Wilfred.
Wilfred too. He gets high and it's Wilfred. Oh, you're here again. No, but you know what I mean? Like, I think that was Matt Reeves' way. Like, again, him jumping off the tower, eating shit on the landing, right? Like, it's still him figuring out.
I'm okay with the Joker. I'm not like I love the first one, and
First one was good, but it was like Taxi Driver with Joker.
Thank you. I mean, the mental health aspect of it was nice to see it thrown in.
Sure. And I mean, they're obviously exploring that.
He's a broken member of society.
Yeah.
Now he's broken in a home, and he's got someone to commiserate with.
Right.
But I mean, at the same time, wasn't Harley Quinn a doctor?
Yeah.
So are we gonna ignore that altogether?
I think Todd Phillips is. Also, he's made it very clear that this is a Joker variant we haven't seen, because even the first movie, like,
she's his doctor when he's in
yes,
Arkham,
but the OG
he turns
her crazy.
Yeah,
he turns her into Harley Quinn. She's
now even
Dr. Harleen Quinzel, and then he turns her. And they did that in the Jared Leto. They alluded to it a little bit in the Jared Leto one.
Now, even if she comes into the hospital when they meet for the first time, or
she seems to be a patient, though.
She is a patient, but if she says that she was a doctor before she was a patient, that's all I need.
That could be cool. Or even if they don't, it could be that, for all we know, she could be another Zazie Beetz and is made up in his mind.
That's very true.
Like, we don't know.
Now,
right?
also in this, they do commiserate together, so it seems that she is good for him, almost in the trailer.
In the sense of fueling Joker, yes.
Like, she's countering the balance.
Yes. And I'm really excited to see the musical numbers. I mean, they got Gaga for a very specific reason.
And she said that he sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And he was like, when you're told by Lady Gaga that you sound good, it gives you confidence.
Oh, and he did walk the line. Like, he's no stranger to being...
Johnny Cash is not hard to sing.
I know. But what I'm saying also, too,
These
is
are going to be ballads. These are going to be, like, musical numbers, right?
So, see, and I'm excited to see that aspect of it. That's why I don't think Batman...
He's no Ewan McGregor.
That's why I don't think Batman is in this universe. Because,
that would be weird to have
this
that beautiful
thing,
the Batman.
Where are the other drugs going? Right? Like...
Not happening. Not things that were not happening that were announced. Hang on here. We got Paradise Lost not happening.
What the fuck was that?
That's a Wonder Woman spin-off series that essentially would be Game of Thrones, but with all the inhabitants from Paradise Island.
I mean, I want to know what they're doing with Wonder Woman. Is it Gal Gadot? What are they doing?
She's out. They haven't talked.
Oh, she's out,
that. In Limbo, also, this one hurt my feelings. I was really hoping for Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing was awesome.
I think
that was one of the dumbest things they did was canceling that show.
It
was so good.
I think it's supposed to be a movie that they were making for Swamp Thing.
Well, they made a show.
Okay, hang on here. James Mangold was supposed to direct the Swamp Thing movie.
Yes, that's right.
This is not happening.
So they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah. And then also not happening was a series dedicated to Waller, which is following Viola Davis's character.
Yeah, I don't think they need to do that. Isn't that Suicide Squad? Isn't that literally Suicide Squad?
That would be 4 episodes and I'd be out.
Yeah, like
there's not enough.
Again, don't do what Marvel does. Don't make a show for every fucking character.
But it's interesting. Like DC had like a pretty big panel, pretty big announcement, and then Marvel just came in with the big whoop, boom.
I hate to say it, and Gunn must be just like, God damn it, because he's been on the other side.
They really had their thunder swept out from under.
He's been on the Marvel side, and he knows that Marvel kills it with the flair. He's done it.
Yeah,
with Marvel.
He's been there sitting next to the Guardians.
Unless you're announcing... The thing that I saw that they could have countered it is if they know who's playing the new Batman in the DC shared universe. That would have been a cool way. RDJ Doom, blah, blah is playing Batman.
This new Superman's Batman is what you're saying.
Yes. Like, if they made that would have been a way to be like tennis. Like, Marvel mic drop. Oh, fuck, DC mic drop. That could have been, but... DC didn't really do anything mic drop, man. They didn't show any footage from the movie.
It was very...
Why didn't they show any Superman footage?
For the course.
Yeah, man. They didn't deserve to steal the thunder. They didn't do anything that was really magic. They announced, we're not doing this anymore. We're not doing Swamp Thing. We're not doing the... Like, what are you doing?
Let's close on one that I don't know if you've seen the trailer for yet. I've watched multiple times because I'm very excited to do a rewatch. Is the Rings of Power Season 2 trailer.
Oh, dude.
Oh, my God.
So... I didn't finish the trailer because, like...
Human Sauron?
30 seconds in, it gave me chills, and I was like, I just want to save this. That Rings of Power was so good.
It was so good.
It was so good.
It left you on such an unbelievable cliffhanger of like,
yes,
okay, now I know the human version of Sauron is this dude, and now I know this is Gandalf? What the fuck?
Also... Spoiler here, too. You see the formation of Mount Doom, and it's amazing.
Right?
It's so cool. I don't know. I think this is way more worth our time than that stupid Gollum movie. Nothing against Andy Serkis, love him.
Yeah, but that's Warner
what
Brothers
a waste
again.
of time.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like Rings of Power is where it's at in season 2.
We got more than enough Gollum in The Return of the King.
Yeah, and like, what is this called? It's just called like The Hunt for Gollum or something, or like, who cares?
This is just
Who
David
cares?
Zaslav, Zuzi,
Yeah.
Zazzy, whatever.
Yeah, just
at
trying
Warner
to be
Brothers.
like, I have the rights, so I'm gonna do something. Like
I have power.
But why not do something good?
Hey, why are they making a Harry Potter TV show?
I mean, that I understand more than more Fantastic Beasts movies. That franchise needs to die.
Well,
They're awful.
I think Ezra killed it.
Yeah, well, they were ruining the timeline too.
Ezra and
so-
Johnny both had their hands.
Oh,
in.
and JK, because JK wrote all of them, and she was starting to be like, "Fuck this."
Quiet down, Jay.
So yeah,
Quiet down. But yeah, no, Rings of Power trailer looked unbelievable.
it's cool. Eh?
Going-
yeah, I
going
saw the
back
beginning,
for-
and I was like, "Woo!"
Well, I completely forgot
Sauron.
that, and I was talking to
It was
Rob.
a being.
Rob was the one who like gave me the nuts and bolts of this to be like to give me perspective of where we are.
Yeah.
And if you don't know this, listener, and you didn't watch Rings of Power, in the first Lord of the Rings, when they're talking about the realms of men and the realms of dwarves
Yes.
and the realms of
Yes.
Gimli. What's Gimli? Dwarves.
Dwarfs.
Dwarfs, elves, and man.
Yeah.
There's the fight that they talk about where each of them had a ring of power.
That's right. That's
And
right.
then
and it was supposed to unify.
It was supposed to
everybody.
unify them, and
Yes.
it didn't. And one guy
Right.
went crazy and melted them all down and
That's
made
right.
the one ring.
That's right.
This is that story.
Yeah.
And that's what I was
Yeah.
waiting for to like the shoe to drop in
Remember
the first season.
In season 1, when they pitched the idea of like, what about rings to unite everyone? And the ring designer's like, huh.
Exactly.
And you're just like, oh my God.
That's
Yeah.
where I'm like, okay, this is that little nugget
Yeah.
of that one scene of
Yeah.
that one battle
Yeah.
now played out over 4 years.
And
I'm
the
like,
show-
sign me up.
The show is going to end where Fellowship starts. And you know, like
Well, isn't this the original council formed?
Yeah, and like, you know how the beginning, like you said, a Fellowship is showing you like snippets of the war, blah,
Yes.
blah, blah. Imagine getting a 40 to hour long episode of that battle.
That's
versus a scene.
Well, and now
Right?
we're getting into. I mean, we've got the House of the Dragons is back. Like this,
And they introduced Isildur, who
introduced the
yeah,
Isildur.
which was so cool. The way they introduced him was pretty badass too. So
it's like Lord of the Rings in junior high.
yeah,
It's like Lord of
yeah,
the
yeah,
Rings
yeah.
before it was anything.
Like we all knew that there was a bigger story than the movies we saw. There's a bigger we know
but that was the
but we're
story.
getting it
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
What is it? Griendriel?
I'm not even gonna try.
Beautiful. Like it's just the way they say it is just like every time great.
Listening to them to speak Elven language.
It's wild.
It's wild.
It's so crazy.
And like our little, I don't know what they're not hobbits.
Galadriel.
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 yeah.
I think is what it is.
What's the little
their
character?
feet. What is it?
Yeah, they're like pre-Hobbit.
Yeah, it's what the hobbits become.
Yes.
They're called like
Or they become hobbits.
they're called because they haven't found the Shire yet. They
Exactly,
move.
yeah.
Once they find the Shire,
Or they
that's when
travel every time they
yeah.
need
And
that-
the way they do that, how they set up camp and take it down,
yeah.
so cool.
It is very. I mean, for $250 million
What
for
do
your
they call it?
first
Something
season,
foot. It's something like
It is something foot.
It's killing me.
But I mean, the first season was expensive. I think I think they were like, well, we can't spend less money,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we need to spend as much or more.
yeah.
So this is movie budget TV making,
Also, it explains so much why Gandalf has such an amazing relationship with the hobbits.
right?
Why
they
he
saved
has
him,
and why he visits the Shire every year
Yes.
and blah blah blah. Yeah.
and like
So
him-
you do think it's? I think it's Gandalf.
I know it's
I think it is.
okay. Being
It
pulled-
hasn't been confirmed, but I definitely think it's Gandalf.
being pulled away on the cart at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
and
yeah.
just him like it doesn't make sense that it's not.
Yeah, and like they're basically raised him. They like brought him back to his like full capability.
Well, they figured out
Right?
how to talk to him. They figured
Yeah.
out, and then finally at the end, he
does magic.
He does magic and
Yeah.
starts speaking.
Yeah.
So who else is it going to be?
I know. And again, when you see the beginning of Fellowship, how close the relationship is with not just Bilbo, all the hobbits. They
Like he
love
doesn't beat the shit
Right.
out of them when they launch his fireworks.
Yeah,
right. He's
and we don't really see a relationship with any wizards having that with anybody, specifically hobbits. So this really, I think it's Gandalf too. If it's not, I want to know how they're going to explain that it's not Gandalf.
well, who's the other dude?
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee's character. What wizard is he?
It's not Saruman.
Rob would be losing his shit right now. Sauron.
Sauron.
Yeah.
So it could be, but I don't know. Because
I
he
don't-
doesn't seem evil. He's
well,
helping
and it's
the
also
hobbits.
like not really. I don't care about him. I want a young Gandalf.
Gandalf, yeah.
I want
Gandalf
a guy
is where we're at.
I want a Gandalf who comes
I want
in.
Gandalf and Sauron the college years.
Like Zack and Slater from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Magic and short people.
Watch out, Preppy.
Watch out, Mount Doom. I mean, there's a ton of other things we could talk about, listener, but unfortunately, that time has come where.
Yeah, I think we talked about the important things.
we had the bullet
RDJ was
points.
really the fucking.
Yeah, I was the meat and potatoes.
That's
of
what's
this
making
all.
everyone still shit their pants. So.
Good job for Star Trek. Star Trek's got a bunch of shit coming.
Yeah, again, I wish it was
Strange
more
New
of a
Worlds
Trekkie.
is getting another one. I
Are they
can't.
doing anything with Chris Pine? Are they doing anything with that?
I mean, last I heard, they didn't want to do the Tarantino version.
Oh yeah, they shelved
Then
that because it was an R-rated Star Trek.
Well, then JJ was like, "We're doing it," and then everybody
Yeah.
on the cast was like, "Are we? No
Yeah.
one told us."
Yeah.
Who's starring in this?
Zoe Saldana, like, and what's funny is they all say they want to do it.
Yeah,
like
I think it's timing, and I think it's the right script.
yeah. And I think they should do something where they're like maybe I don't know if it has to be R-rated, but where they're kind of like older and a little
God
bit.
damn, Thunderbolts.
Oh yeah. I don't know much about this. The idea of like
What's with the asterisks?
the baddies being made into a team again. It's not something we haven't seen.
It's
before.
nothing new.
It's
but
Marvel Suicide Squad, I guess.
It is Marvel Suicide Squad, but it is a pretty interesting batch of.
It's
humans.
cool. And again, David Harbour loves playing the character. It's great seeing him play that energy.
Big Russian.
Yeah, and I'm always loving to see
Julia
Bucky.
Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, I want to see more of her.
U.S. Marshal.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm assuming Brave New World is going to have. It's probably going to set up Thunderbolts. I assume. Like, there's no way Bucky's not mentioned in Brave New World.
I mean, you can't have Cap without Bucky in some regard.
I'm assuming they're going
I
to.
mean, him and Sam were fucking Lethal Weapon in the series.
Well,
so
that's
we
why I'm
can't not
saying-
have Bucky.
I think the Thunderbolts are going to come and help him defeat Red Hulk.
That would be
And then
interesting.
that's what's going to lead into the Thunderbolts having a. Because
You-
how the fuck is Anthony Mackie's not a super? He doesn't have super serum. In
No, but he has a suit.
him. Yes,
And he does
And
put
as
the
Iron
suit
Man
on.
showed us, you can do a lot with a suit. Sure.
Now, who knows if that isn't Stark Tech, right?
Oh, can I say one thing about? Sorry, Harrison Ford at Comic-Con was amazing.
I'm not going to answer that question.
Oh fuck! How funny. Do you think your General Ross would be cool with Han Solo?
No,
Why do
it
you
was-
ask me these?
It was he asked who, like it's the who shot first scenario.
Yeah, and
This
he was
is
like,
who-
"Stop! I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer it."
but I'm happy for the opportunity.
But I'm really loving the opportunity.
yeah,
Thanks.
thank you for the opportunity.
I love him for that. Even while they're asking it, he's just like, ugh. You can see in his face
Well, they
he's
also-
so angry.
They're like, so you're Red Hulk. What's a Red Hulk?
Yeah, and he's like, what the hell is a Red Hulk?
He is brilliant
He's-
with comedy.
Yeah,
He
he's
is-
great. He's great.
He's such an underrated sense of
The
humor
Blade
in that
Runner
man.
tour, like press tour with him and Gosling, the amount of times he just made Gosling lose it.
Well, and the
'Cause he-
story about him actually getting punched,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, they did one of them at like 7:00 in the morning, and he's just like, ugh. Every time they asked him something, he starts with,
Well, they keep the take that he gets hit on.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
what's in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
So when they
When he
pause
gets
freeze
mad-
frame and his face is out,
Oh yeah.
that's him getting clobbered.
Oh,
by,
and when he gets mad,
by
you
Han.
can tell he's like pissed.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Anyways, until next time, listener, thank you for tuning in to another episode. If you see us at Movies in the Park, come over and give us your take on your favorite Ryan Reynolds bit. We'll have some stuff there. Our Fringe Festival evening played
Your
out really well.
favorite Van Wilder quote, and you get something.
Yeah, your favorite scene in Van Wilder.
Yeah.
And if you mention donuts, it's an automatic win,
Yeah.
right? Because who doesn't like watching someone eat a dog sperm-filled donut?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right.
It's so warm.
Take it to the God wash.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
Kel Penn. The things you had to
Give
do
you
to
a
get to that movie.
wax. And he says the white berry instead of Barry White.
See you next year for another SDCC San Diego Comic-Con review. I've been Calvary.
And I'm Flame On.
Watching movies and TV. Kids. See you next. Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, if you have any problems, dial information. Thank you for calling.